You know, one of those what if scenarios, right? Like, what if Matt had got his eyes back, right? Where he can actually see. What would this do to the rest of his abilities that he's trained so hard for? This man just busted in, bro. Oh man, I felt that. That man's arm not supposed to go that way.
It opens door.
Yeah.
Spin, opens door. Spin. He's like, do, door, open, door, open, door.
Copy. We're on our way.
Yeah. Well, that's as good as the sword that you're gonna get.
Free as many as you can.
Here they come. Oh,
Oh,
all right. If
oh.
that man is not dead. Yeah, if that man is not dead, bro, his quality of life is severely diminished.
That's the thing about Daredevil. Like I said last season, it's not about killing you. It's about leaving you in insurmountable medical debt.
Yeah.
That's how he gets you in the end.
You might as well be dead.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that man's Achilles is cooked. How many people just got shot? Oh.
Well then.
All right. How's that other dude? How's this other guy not dead?
No, girl,
Karen,
just stay in the car.
Stay in the
Just stay in the car, girl. Where do you gotta get
Oh.
out the car to make a phone call? Just get in the car.
Who is that? Maybe Bullseye?
Just get in the car, Karen. Oh my god. Please. I hate when characters make this decision.
Wait. Who else is this? I swear if it's Angela. I fucking do it. I fucking do it, bro. Oh man. Came here to die. That's everyone's about to get shot the fuck up. Bro. Karen or
Stay
Angela's
in the
getting
car,
shot.
Karen.
Yeah, Karen or Angela's getting shot, bro. There's no time for this. About to be on the 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock news. Do you know where your children are? Yeah, dead. I'll literally be surprised if they all make it out unscathed. Okay, they got out. Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
It's time to kill the dudes. Yeah. And pin the blame on Daredevil.
He killed them. He killed them all.
That does it for Daredevil Born Again season 2 episode 3. What a roller coaster that ended up being. A lot of grade A fuckery during the court proceedings for our swordsman Duquesne. I am actually surprised that nobody on Daredevil's side got hurt per se or died during that final exchange of freeing the prisoners. It just felt like somebody's about to get clipped. Angela coming through. I'm very more like, I guess you could say I'm more surprised that they're stepping into her having, like, you know, picking up the white tiger mantle, given how young she is. But I mean, the writers are just like, hey, F it, you know, let her step into this mantle, let her step into the role of vigilantism. Let her get her lick back for her aunt and her uncle. And she came through to help, you know, Karen and of course Matt. The likely outcome of this, you know, it's always like having a contingency plan, was Fisk was gonna sink the ship as well as get rid of, you know, the people that helped him, you know. It was all about, hey, you know, these were good men, but, you know, as we already know, Miss Valentina, right? You know, the word came down essentially that, hey, so what? You can find some more. right? Because good men are hard to come from. Good men are hard to come by, but it's not like you can't just hire some more. And obviously, with the task force, took them all out. So those men who just wanted to get back to their families, well, that's not what they're getting. Um, when it comes to the things with Heather, her stepping into the role of Muse, how did she get the mask? I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there something that we're not remembering from the first season? I mean, she clipped him, um, but the mask, like that's like it has to be through another accessory. She was able to get that mask, unless she just decided, hey, I'm just gonna create my own mask in the exact ways that Muse look. So for our commenter that was just like, yo, wouldn't it be crazy if if Heather became Muse?
Mm-hmm.
Not looking so crazy at all. Now I gotta look at them, be like, yo, did you actually watch this season? Get your hands on this way beforehand, for this Heather character to like, because I mean, her being introduced, yeah,
It's I wouldn't say it's a logical path, but it is a it is a
it's
path that
yeah,
has been taken before with characters who suffer from this type of PTSD, right?
yeah,
That they take on the persona of the thing that traumatized them,
yeah,
because they are trying to reclaim themselves, they're trying to reclaim their pain, they're trying to reclaim who they were before the incident. But as we know, like as I discussed in the previous two episodes, she already had a bias against vigilantes and masked guys. So it's already
yeah,
warped this trauma's only warped that sensibility even further. Like as we saw that she's willing to quote unquote forge her own paperwork or lie on her own paperwork to get one up on these guys.
yeah,
So it's about like I'm not weak. I'm not the girl who almost I'm not the woman who almost died in her office to a masked man, to eventually becoming, well, okay, so now I've been hurt, so now I'm hurting other people, but it's okay because I've got a title. And it's okay because wow, I got hurt, so what I'm doing isn't wrong, right? People like
yeah.
that never view what they do as wrong just as just until if they fall further into the rabbit hole of this feeling and this way of thinking and of the trauma that they become the thing that
Hmm.
traumatized them.
Yeah, because it's not unprecedented for a female Muse in the original comics. I think it was oh God, Morgan. I think his name was like Morgan. So Muse does die, like in like that storyline. Like as the MCU does, they weave. You would know better than me. They weave a lot of different storylines from different comics and whatnot.
Hmm.
But I did know that like the original Muse does die, right? And then there's a female Muse that pretty much steps into the plate, but their name was Morgan, so that's why I was just like, this other character. I don't even then it was like this is an original, more of an original character, at least from the last things I remember reading a long, long last time ago, dealing with Daredevil. When Daredevil was having the crossovers with Spider-Man, that's when I started to read some Daredevil stuff. But I knew there was a female Muse. So when that fan theory was just like it could be like, especially the commenter was just like, yo, it could be Heather, and I'm just like, that's crazy because there is precedence for it becoming that. And yeah, if she does everything that you just said, I mean,
Hmm.
everything also lines up. Her deteriorating mental state, PTSD about what everything that happened with the original Muse. I mean, the other one I think was also an artist, Morgan, if I remember carefully, or correctly, she was an artist. You could say Heather is kind of a no, she's not an artist. I was trying to think about it, but
Psychological artist.
yeah, you can't really draw mine. Yeah, I was trying to make a parallel. There's no real parallel other than they're both being female. And yeah, that's pretty female and having something to do with the original Muse. That's pretty much the only real parallel, for the writers, I guess, this season to pretty much converge on that path, which I think will be really interesting, especially if she takes the route of killing other people, in the same way that Muse did beforehand. She might even be more of a psychological tormentor, based on just her job, and what she does.
Mhm.
Whatever type of relationship that they're trying to work up between her and Buck. I mean, that's pretty interesting. More so Buck and Daniel, aka our deputy mayor. Um, Buck is like, yeah, I really like the guy. He's starting to come around. But it's like this episode we didn't really have much with Daniel, aka our deputy mayor. Except for the fact that now you're having Buck push on to him saying that, hey, you know, you got to find this person because you got all these other skills. You're very intelligent, but now we need you to find this person that's making a mockery of fists. And Daniel's just like, is this really a big deal? Like, there's so many other things. No, it's now he's realized, like, him more so realizing that this is actually a bigger deal than he thought it was. And BB out here, she's still like going off on him. And
Yeah.
it's what I was like thinking about beforehand. Like, it's gonna come to the point where, while has like, obviously these crimes are going to become more and more irrefutable, right? Especially with BB reporting on it, and like the new bodies that are about to be piling up from them just blowing up the Northern Star, right? That was
Mhm.
for them blowing up the Northern Star. More bodies are piling, and sooner rather than later, they can't just use the excuse that vigilantes are the reason why this is happening. But they can get away with it for as long as possible. But up until BB's little I guess you say
Mhm.
excursion is interfering with things because the public is not paying attention. The public at large just doesn't know, but people are smartening up towards the entire thing, right? But you have the people with inside, like Daniel, who was just like, damn, this is getting a bit more serious than I thought it was supposed to be. Just like who was it? There was another character. Wait, there was another person who said they just got a job, or Heather. Just like Heather has
Mhm.
this idea that Fist is like the best person in the world and whatnot, and she's not like she doesn't. It's like not even that she just doesn't know about any of his like darker dealings. She just only sees a person that is like knight in shining armor,
That
giving
aligns
her
with her way of
yes,
thinking and is
yeah,
giving her a platform.
yes, and she thinks Matt is dead. She thinks that vigilantes killed him, but it's like all these other people who actually know who Matt is. Being Daredevil. She's not to the point of where she's on the need to know type of deal. It's Heather, Daniel, and Sheila who are on. Well, Sheila is the closest to being in the middle, to verging into
Mhm.
the path that, hey, you're about to be in the known, which means you're part of this empire that we're criminal empire that we're building, and blood is on your hands, right? That's where Sheila is like in the middle. Then on the very outside, you have Daniel and you have Heather, who are like footsteps away from crossing to the dark side and being fully engulfed in all of the dark dealings that's going on with Fiss and Vanessa. Buck, obviously, he's already killed people. The task force, obviously, they're out there doing dirt. The task force just doesn't know that Matt is Daredevil. Because if they did, then they would have been pushing even more so. Buck obviously was like, hey, if we was it Buck that said like yeah, so Buck is obviously like, hey, we should just put out there that Matt is Daredevil, but then that would just give credence to vigilantes, and a blind man out here is literally like kicking our asses and destroying our stuff. Like, how is that going to look when he also saved my life? So he's also like, there's so much other optics at play on the table that everyone is looking at, and it's on this collision course that's eventually going to blow up. Now, the last thing I'll mention is just Karen. She is taking a lot of liberties and becoming more and more like Frank. And you haven't seen the Punisher series. But the seeds were absolutely planted there in those 2 seasons. And the relationship between her and Frank was also had seeds to be planted. And then you saw a little bit of that in the first season of Born Again for Daredevil, as Matt is like listening to the heart rate of Karen and Frank together. But as I'm not sure if we said it on camera or off camera, about Frank. He is too laser focused on
Mm-hmm.
his end goal to fall in love right now with another character, at least in this rendition of Frank right now. Like he is his goal is revenge for what happened to his wife and his children, and stopping at nothing for that, as well as his code, which he follows. And if love just happens to come along the way, it's not going to derail him how it does other characters in these classic cliche situations. What does that say for Karen's overall character moving forward? Because I mean, like, obviously episode 1 I was like, is Karen gonna be throwing hands? Okay. Episode 2, oh wait, Karen's throwing hands. Episode 3, oh wait, Karen is not about to be above killing people. I think Karen is going to kill somebody. If there's any guess, I would guess that Karen killed somebody this season, because unlike Matt, it's all like, first Matt was just like, yo, boohoo, I don't want to be Daredevil anymore. Now I realize that I have no choice but to be Daredevil. But Matt obviously didn't care if he killed Bullseye or not in the beginning. I think Karen is eventually going to have to kill somebody, or will kill somebody, in order to protect Matt or Angela or herself or Christian. Like, you got 4 people. It's so many people to protect. But I think her hands getting bloodied is more so on the table than anything, and how she'll live with those results afterwards, because it's a step that Matt doesn't take and hasn't taken, even though those dudes, they, like, obviously those officers are dead, bro. Like they weren't dead before. Them dudes is dead, like, obviously incapacitated. Once again, we have, and then he's gonna be like, yeah, those people died. Yeah, who led to those people dying though? It's like one of those things, right? And who incapacitated those people, like, and those men on ship? Like, there's a lot of people who were, like, obviously, if you want to look at it, they were knocked out cold, and now they're gonna, well, they're not gonna wake up, but they're gonna just be in body bags when their bodies are collected. And then obviously the people who weren't aware of the fighting going on obviously also died. And yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty complex. I will say I like this episode. Um, I like this episode a lot. The anxiety was definitely there, because Angela and Karen, I think we just have natural born anxiety for them, because they have been
Mm.
shown not to, be about this life, and all of a sudden here they are, like, trying to pull their own weight, and they didn't get shot or anything bad happened to them. We passed the first test. Is it
Mm-hmm.
going to be like this in the future? That's what things are going to come down to. So, yeah, yeah. All in all, enjoyable episode. Yeah,
Yeah. I think there's definitely a lot more talking in this episode, a lot more character setup and trying to understand character POV.
yeah,
Mostly from Fisk's side, and just the circus that's being run here when it comes to how Fisk is running New York, and how deep his reach is in
mm-hmm.
all aspects of New York, right? That we open the episode with the playgrounds being closed because of this Safe Initiative Act, right? That kids
Yep,
can't even play in the playground because of this, and so it goes from that to, putting pressure on judges for a farce of a trial, for not allowing a lawyer to see her client and actually build a defense for her client. Uh, to locking up people in a black site, regular people who aren't vigilant, right? We see just how far it goes, and understanding that there are still some people within the government who are like, dude, I see you.
yeah,
And you're really pushing it. You're really pushing it, whether it's from on high, people whose ideals align with him, like
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard's character, Charles in the first episode, to the governor, um, in this episode,
Yeah.
and what that all means, and how if you're charismatic enough, if you even just cross your T's and dot your I's in the right places, you can get away with a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's something too that we have to know about Daniel, that he's a regular everyday kid. Like he's just a regular guy. But we know a lot of guys like that. We know a lot of women like that, right? Who are just you can't help but fall for their natural charm, right?
Yeah.
And within falling for that natural charm, it's also seeing more than just what's on the surface.
Hmm.
He's a kid who's trying to make it out, right? He's a kid that's trying to make it out and up, and is, you know, with that pressure or with those feelings, with those ideals, he's conscripted himself and signed up to, bad people.
Yeah.
But as we know, with some charming, intelligent people, doesn't matter if you tied yourself to a bad guy or a guy who gives you, wiggy vibes,
Yeah.
or who you have to side eye sometimes and what's going on. You're getting out, you're getting up. They make him feel important. His job is important, right?
Yeah.
He's a kid who had nothing, who now feels important. But in seeing the conversation with him and Buck, it's that thing of where I completely understand what he's saying, where it's just like there's no point in eating at these things because it could lead to just a mess. You never know if something's gonna upset your stomach. You got to be on your game at this stuff.
Yeah.
And two, another great way to get information is to get people drunk. To
Yeah.
get guys who are like me drunk and get them feeling like we relate and that we're cool. We're some like I see you. I see you. Come on, you gotta have something.
Yeah.
There's so many like it's just his role as the like as Buck says, possibly the heir apparent,
Yeah.
if he doesn't, you know, fall on his own dagger in a way. Because as we know, as we discussed last week, he is protecting BB, right?
Yes.
So it's gonna come to a point where it's like, do I continue the come up or do I protect myself and a friend?
Hmm.
What does that really mean for him going forward? Buck is the guy who's like, well, I've been at this game for a long time. I make my choices. It is what it is. And I know who I'm working for and I know who I am. I like that also that Daniel was just like, I get information from places. I know that you're like MI5 or whatever the fuck he was saying to him.
Yeah.
He's wanting to learn more, right? He's wanting to learn more. So he wants to ingratiate himself even further into this company
Yeah.
of not so great people doing not so great things, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll come to a point where he needs to decide whether it's his morals he wants to follow because there's still that moral inkling of protecting BB, or
Yeah.
if it's like, yeah, like I said, I'm just a young dude doing my job and time to get up and get out. These
Yeah.
people make me feel important. But then that's also something that we discuss in other stuff. That's what manipulative mentors do, right?
Yeah.
They make you feel important to get what they want. And you are under the guise that you're not disposable the whole time you're easily disposable.
Hmm.
I think him asking about like the videos is part protecting BB, like it's not that important too. Also, just a generational thing, right? As we know, younger people will look at those videos and some of them are like, bro, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. But not understanding the implications that videos like this cause dissidence, cause it's its own form of rebellion and sowing the seeds of making people think of, hey, what this man that you hold so highly for and this guy that you think is doing all this great stuff for New York, this is what he's really doing. And it's that stuff gets people to think and to move and to really question what's going on,
Yeah.
right? It's a danger in that people in power don't want us to think for ourselves. They don't want us to really take a good look at the harm that they're causing to us and to our communities, right? To society as a whole. They
Yeah.
don't want that. That's why they cause distraction, right? That's what the trial is for. That's what the blowing up of the Northern Star is. It's all a distraction. It's all a distraction because now you're going to be worried about like, oh, see, yeah, yeah, see, they were right about the vigilantes. If the judges if the judges rule it, then that makes it true. But as we know, and as we discussed in other episodes, just because you're a person in power that's meant to help people doesn't mean you help people.
Yeah.
You on as we're seeing in this show, um and in other things too, people in power use that power to cause more harm and only to continue to elevate themselves. Or who knows, maybe in some cases, they're being threatened, someone's being held hostage. Like it's all a power play. And how much are these people in these positions are meant to protect people? How much are they willing to give of themselves and to sacrifice us in order to keep themselves safe? So there's a lot of that going around. How much are you willing to keep the people around you safe as opposed to keeping yourself alive and safe,
Yeah.
right? I think you know, it's a lot of people it's a ideal that a lot of people don't actually think about and really sit with. Um and I like that this show is showing the many sides of it. Like with Kristen, she's just like, yeah, this is a fuck ass uphill battle, but I'm not gonna sell my soul and hurt others because you want to cut a deal. I know this is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, Matt, I know this is wrong, so we're not doing this. Like with Angela, this is wrong. Someone's got to do something. It's got to be me, I guess, because no one else is doing shit. Everyone else is
Yep.
too scared. It's got to be Karen. This is fucking pissing me off. This man terrorized us. His wife killed our best friend.
Yep.
Traumatized me so bad I had to go move to California. And now I'm back and this shit is popping off even more. Like, what the fuck is going on? Enough is enough. Um, and then just seeing how it affects like the everyday people. Angela's aunt, right? The bodega
Hmm.
owner, the woman who owned the restaurant in the first episode, who we saw there at the end. Thank God she's alive. Um, People who are just trying to protect their communities are getting caught up in this man's power trip. And that keeps getting, doubled down on because he's like, how far can my reach go? How many worlds are there for me to put to impose my ideals on? How
Yeah.
much can I obtain in the guise of, like I said, dotting your I's and crossing your T's,
Yeah.
right? And I love that too, like that he always does his paperwork. That's another thing about Fisk. He always does his
He
paperwork, right?
does. He
He
does.
finds the loopholes that people put in before him. He finds the people to blackmail. It's like like it's very it is very like chess, right? I gotta make sure that this move is correct because the two moves I have going down the line, I got to make sure that this one move doesn't affect that, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I put the paperwork in. I signed the checks. You ain't gonna get me on that. Like,
Yep.
because that's what a lot of these
Stay scheming.
rich people do, right? It's scheming, but it's also what you got to do to get by as a proper businessman or a mayor or a governor or a president or a lawyer or a doctor. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, well, you know, I did this by law. I did what I had to do, right? That doesn't mean I'm not doing everything else around it. And he's gonna make sure that that's not how those in the government aren't gonna like one up him, like, oh, there's some paperwork you didn't sign. Now we can get you the fuck up out of here. He's like, no, I'm litigious. All my people were litigious. We're gonna get this right. That's not how you're gonna get me. You're not gonna get me. And it's also that hubris too, and people feeding into that hubris of uh, a narcissistic madman, right? He's doing it by the books, right? But he's doing it by it's law, right? It's law, so it's okay, right? If the court says it, or if the boss says it, it's okay. And it's just like, just because it's law, just because it's enforced, doesn't mean it's right. Um, that's another thing I think this show is trying to show you. Just because he's very litigious about his paperwork doesn't mean what he's doing is right. Doesn't mean that the laws in place are correct. Plain and simple. Yeah, I think with Heather, it's like I said in my piece when you brought it up. It's gonna be very fascinating to watch this woman who uh basically just eats herself, right? You're so smart at what you at your job, right? You have a very interesting point of view, and I understand being lied to, right? I mean, someone lying to you in such a way, and you feel that someone who's meant to be growing in a relationship with you is hiding,
Yeah.
and then they just disappear, and you don't know if they're dead or not. That does damage to anybody. That
Yeah.
like that whole their whole relationship was very heavy. No matter how much they came together in some moments, it was just a big fucking mess on top of her being traumatized by Muse and almost dying, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's like it's she's to me it's she is complex in a way that I find it fascinating that there are women who are meant to serve and protect, right?
Yeah.
And she's just not. But there are women whose pain they feel justified in hurting others without seeing anything wrong with hurting
Without,
others,
yeah.
right? It's like, again, dotting your T's and crossing your I's, right? That there are women out there who are like, well, there's this, because I honestly think she admires Vanessa very much. Vanessa's a woman in power who does what she wants and gets what she wants,
Yeah.
who can orchestrate all this. So I think she really admires Vanessa, but to have Vanessa and Fizz prop her up in a way that like hey, if these people can see that in me and they're making moves and their thoughts align with mine, then my pain and how I'm treating others is justified,
Yeah.
right? Because they're so twisted in their head. It's like, damn girl, but you're a therapist, you're a psychologist, like your job is to see beyond that, but we're human and some of us can't see beyond our own pain.
Yeah. We can.
um and then let that pain uh harm others who have nothing to do with it. Like Duquesne has nothing to do with her.
Not at
Duquesne has
all.
nothing to do with her, right? Um, and Muse is dead, but because of her situation with Muse and already her bias thinking against mass vigilantes, it's like, well, he's just like the rest of them. And it's like, is he? I don't think he is. I don't think he
No.
is.
No.
And then when she's confronted by Kristen, and Kristen's like, "Bro, you know this is wrong," and she's just like, "But is it?" And Kristen's just like, "It is, it is, it is." Like, look, girl to girl, friend to friend. I see you. I understand what you went through was very difficult and very hard, and we share a relationship with this man where now I'm in the lurch because he's either dead or missing, and you're in the lurch because he up and left your relationship, or he's dead in your. Who knows?
Yeah. He
Like
doesn't know. Yeah.
he.
He doesn't know
Even
yet.
though we know Matt is Daredevil, as what comes with these superheroes, it's a double life.
Yeah.
One of your lives always takes a hit unless you're integrating them both seamlessly, which sometimes does happen. In this instance, it doesn't. With Karen, it's like their relationship is a little bit better because she knows he's Daredevil, but we saw at the beginning in the
Oh
Netflix
yeah.
show how hard that was, how difficult that was. Same thing with Foggy, right?
Yeah.
We know. Um, but it really is two women who loved this man in their own ways and now are on opposite sides of not knowing wherever the fuck he is and going through their own shit because Kristen's got a lot on her plate too. She's going through a lot.
Yeah.
Kristen
She
got a
going through
you
it.
see you see all those files behind her? That's madness.
She going
She can't
through
even
it.
pay people at her office. This office that Matt wanted to this law firm that her and Matt were supposed to be building up and he's like gone. Like
Yeah.
but it goes to show that even though she's stressed out and she's got a lot on her plate, how she's not taking that out on people and how she's making sure she's doing what she feels morally correct in her gut, right? What she
Yeah.
feels is right. At least, again, abiding by the laws and things like that, right? Because she's also crossing her T's and dotting her I's just in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So I think that moment where Heather pulls the mask out and like has to center herself, I think it's that thing of if I confront the thing that scares me, I'm strong again and I can do this task and I just have to look at it. But it's like a false sense of strength,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not going to get help for the situation that happened to you. This is just a band-aid. This is just a
This is
band-aid and
Band-Aid.
it's
Yeah.
all gonna blow up. Yeah, I think yeah, this is a pretty good episode. I think Angela, like, it does stress me out because, like you said, she is a kid, she is really young. But as we talked about in the last episode, this is what the MCU just has to do. We have to sign young actors because fuck, who knows what's going on with all the other young sidekicks that we've had over the years. I mean, we got Swordsmaster in this, and Swordsmaster comes from the Hawkeye series. The Hawkeye
Yeah.
series had
Which I
Kate
haven't
Bishop.
seen.
Where the fuck
Yeah.
is Kate Bishop, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like it's stuff like that. So now we have to have a young teen POV character for the kids who are watching this, who I don't know if they should be watching this, but you know, you know what I
They
mean?
gotta. Yeah, that's how they gotta do it, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And her stance is very much just like, you know, if you adults aren't gonna fight back, and I have this ability in front of me, someone needs to protect us. Someone needs to help. And I do love that. I do love that mentality of, again, just doing what you gotta do to protect the place you love, the people you love, to
Yeah.
fight back against things you know are wrong. And what they did to her uncle and what they've just done to her aunt, like,
Yeah.
she's another one who's like, enough is enough. I'm tired of, because you guys see me so young, someone has to do something. All you adults are just running around either in fear or not doing anything, or propagandizing us to believe that Fisk is right, to follow along the task force. But you guys are just sitting there having your coffees and drinking your teas and, you know, going about your everyday life. But bro, they killed
Right.
my uncle.
Yep.
They just took my aunt.
Yep. Yep.
I'm
You
gonna go
gotta
fuck
put.
shit up.
You gotta put. Take matters into your own hands.
Yep.
Yep.
So much respect to her for that. It is just stressful because it is like, bro, you're a kid, you shouldn't have to do this, but not enough adults are fighting back. But
Yeah.
then it's, as a lot of us talk in the real world, it's very it's very scary, and it's very daunting to come together to fight back when they're making sure that we're all so oppressed and pushed down, that we're all just trying to struggle to survive and get by. And every single second there's a gun in our face. How much of your life is worth living, and how much of it is it worth fighting for, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that's also like where Karen's at, right? Where she's like an adult who's doing something. I had a job. I was trying to help people. The system fucked me over. Now this man is in power, and it's also the influence of Frank too, of seeing this from a different point of view. Like, I'm of the mind that sometimes bad people gotta die. Like, um, yeah, don't do bad things if you're not ready to suffer the consequences of your actions, right? I get Matt's point of view. I understand that, because it is a different thing taking a life, right? And and also grappling with his religion and his sense of self, and understanding things as a whole. Like, I get it, but I hate when they go, we're not gonna win things by killing people. I'm just like, bro,
Have you not seen
sometimes you
war?
gotta.
Like, how did the world wars end? People died,
And
unfortunately.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that could also just be, my X-Men training in me. Enough times you blow up the X Mansion, enough times you blow up kids on buses, enough times you kill people on their mutant island nation. Enough's enough.
Yeah.
It's time to start ripping faces off and feeding it to them. Like, if you're gonna do it to me, I gotta do it to you, right? Like,
Not the
that's just
ripping faces off and feeding them.
feeding it to, like,
No.
truly,
No,
truly.
Kayla, no.
Catherine Kitty Pride, I see you at the in your crash out at the end of the Hellfire Gala all those years ago. Very felt, very real. But then, seeing that from Karen's point of view, it's like, they killed my friend. I had to move. My life is in he like, we are almost always
Disarray.
almost dying because of this man. He won't leave us alone. And now whatever the fuck he's doing is no longer just affecting a criminal underground. It's affecting all of New York, and who knows how far this is gonna reach. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. So I think a lot of this episode is very much just like, how done are you with this shit, to how much are you willing to forgive or turn a blind eye to continue on the come up.
How done? Very
What's
done.
the,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Yep. So, and I agree with you. Even though I feel like Karen might have killed that guy under the car, or maybe
Mhm.
she knocked him out, but I like, there's that urgency, that sense of where she's gonna come head to head with Matt, and she's either trying to protect herself, trying to protect Kirsten, trying to protect Angela, trying to protect someone, and
Yeah.
it's either you or them.
Yeah. And it's gonna be Big Me. You better
Yeah.
better protect yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think people, it's always that idea of if they go low, we gotta go high, and it's just like, but where, how far does getting high, well, getting high gets us far, but how
yeah,
far does going high get us in a lot of these cases? We've talked about that aspect in a lot of shows that we watch. That when it comes to the bad guy, they're willing to do anything.
yeah,
And you, as the good guy or someone who's in the gray, has to figure out what the right place for you is in the fight to fight back and to get one over on them. How far are you willing to push yourself to at least meet them on their level in a way that is survivable for you? So, yeah.
yep, yep. I think I mean, the older I get, the more I want to watch series where people are just not trying to be the good guy, because that's not the real world. You know, it's
Mm.
very preachy in a lot of media, where you gotta always fight the good fight, even though the hands that are oppressing you are doing all this fuck shit, and
Mhm.
you can't go low, or like if someone goes low, you can't go low or lower. And I think those types of medias, like, it's just not my favorite anymore to like really I immediately put them a peg down, like in terms of stories that are a little bit more grounded in reality, where people are just like, yeah, you know what, this is the real world, and the people are multi-dimensional, and yes, there are people like Matt that are going to fight the good fight, but these stories don't show the reality of the people who fight the good fight and what happens to those people, and they just want like the beacons of justice, there's a place in the world for series like that, right? When your main character is dwelling between these things, and the people around them are also have been, I guess you say, they themselves have now warped their opinions and their way of life, according to how other people move. Like, if there are villains in the world, right, and someone's affected by these villains, just telling them, hey buddy, you know what, it's gonna be all right. When
Yeah.
my whole house just got fucking blown up, my mom and dad are dead, and I'm gonna get the, hey buddy, just hang in there, it's gonna be all right. You know, you don't have to be
Looking
like
at
these
you,
villains.
current run
Yeah,
of X-Men. Looking
yeah,
at you, honestly, X-Men 97, and people try to invalidate Rogue's very, very relatable crash out and Magneto's
yeah,
crash out,
yeah,
and how they were just like at the end of it, no, but we gotta all come together. We
yeah.
gotta
With
all come
the
together.
like, I just, it makes me want to write a series called Villains, right? Where you, each book takes apart a specific person's reason for becoming a villain, because there's many reasons people can become villains, right?
Mhm.
And it's like the smallest thing just sets somebody up on a path for their like their villain backstory, right? But if I just had my home blown up, my parents are killed, and you're gonna give me the, hey buddy, just know that things are gonna get better after this point. I'm like, things could have been better before my home was blown up, before my parents were killed and whatnot. So you're gonna tell me that I shouldn't seek some type of vengeance? I shouldn't be jaded by the world, or have my entire like thing warped and whatnot,
Uh,
right?
Title of my
Yeah,
autobiography. You shouldn't be jaded by the world. Don't let it
yeah,
warp you. Whatever happened to you, the pain
yeah.
that
The
others
pain
have
and
caused
suffering,
you.
yeah.
Don't let it. Don't let it.
Like,
Ugh.
yeah, like, and and it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I'm writing this story, or I write that story for people that want to see these types of stories, not because the, like, say, the general masses just always wants the good guys always wins and whatnot, because it's sometimes the good guy needs to become the bad guy, in order to get shit done, because the world is always going to be in shades of gray and not just purely black and white. And Matt's story right now, like Daredevil, the character, and all his work that he's built up for his code, slowly and surely crumbling around him. And this whole premise of, I know they're gonna be filming for season 3 already. But like at the conclusion of season 2, bro, if I see Karen like smoke somebody, I know that's where it needed to go. Like I needed that was for us. That was for like because Karen is a person who has literally been there to fight the good fight, but she is seeing that sometimes you just gotta put motherfuckers down, right? And sometimes and Matt like can't just like cope at the end of the day being that yeah I didn't kill these people, even though he directly led to
Put
these
them in a
deaths.
mountain of
Yeah,
medical debt.
yes, like like I think what I want is a series that just takes that underlying that there's some people that be like yo you know what I'm making these very terrible decisions and it's okay to have characters like that, right? I think you just need more of that in the media, but a lot of people do not like, and I found it shocking, but I guess it's also a lot of people don't like villain protagonists. They don't like the bad guy being the main character, um, because apparently it sets a moral precedent, that we need to root for the bad guys and the public messaging and whatnot. People don't want stories. People don't want stories like that to be promoted out there because they don't want to influence bad people. But at the same time, people want to have the argument that yeah, TV and stuff doesn't influence people. Well, okay, if that's the case, then you will promote and adapt more of these stories where people are like the villains is the main character. Could you imagine like the story flipping all the way around and we're seeing Kingpin as the main character and his entities and the villain in his story is Daredevil and all these other people who are trying to fight the good fight? But I mean, hey, we saw that with the Penguin, right?
Mhm.
And people love the Penguin because I mean, but he's a villain at the end of the day. But we saw it from his perspective, and he's not a hero by any stretch of the imagination to us, but he is a hero to somebody else, So that's why I'm like, when I look at these types of stories, like I just always wonder, when we get more diversifying storytelling, between having characters who are a bit more morally gray. Maybe it's too complex, and people just reject the idea of having more morally gray and more complex characters
Well,
because they can't
considering the
understand
amount
their
of discourse that constantly happens
yeah
in all fandoms and how people really just watch and absorb these shows or movies with their eyes closed and ears
Mhm.
shut, it is very like
No, they
no
can't have
one
it.
no one can onboard it.
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok that said like, for for all of us who never understand how there are fans in the X-Men or in Star Trek or in One Piece
Yeah.
who see it as non-political or who don't see the social commentary conversations that are happening in these IPs,
Yeah.
and how it's like it's just right over.
Yeah.
And the guy in the TikTok said it's not it the reason why it's like that is because they what these people relate to is the power of the protagonist. So they want the power that Luffy has. They want the power that Wolverine has. That's what makes them feel connected to the
Yeah.
story, not what Luffy or Wolverine or what Matt is fighting against
Yeah.
is, oh, they can, oh yeah, that's so cool that they could beat up people. And I feel like
That's about it.
that's about it. And it's really that, but that has somehow outweighed anything else of understanding of looking deeper into the things that you consume or like
Makes
at least
sense.
engaging with it in an honest way. um I think whatever era we're in media, I think there are too many people who are like, yeah, that lovable goof, oh, he's a pirate, oh yeah, that's cool that he's got I want stretchy powers. Everything else he's doing, what, no, he's just a guy, a lovable goof who can
Yeah.
stretch his arms. Everything else is like fucking faded and blurred around it because that's the only thing that some audience members want is the power that the main character has. So when it comes to the to having a villain story that is quite complex and has layers like the Penguin, we really
Mhm.
enjoyed that show. But as we were watching, we were like, yeah, this guy is fucked up. All this is we're if this is fucked up. But then
Yeah.
understanding that Big Sophia was just like, bro, that I another person who was in a family who's doing bad shit her family fucked her over, and it's just like, well, now I'm seeking my, like, to me, she's the hero of the story, but she gets fucked over at the end anyway. I think if we have more stories like that, too many people are gonna be like, yo, the penguin's just too cool. The penguin's
Yeah,
just too
it's
cool.
gonna be like that. Like, oh, these bad guys, they're too cool, bro. I want to be
Mm,
just like him. I want to do all this.
yeah.
Like, you gotta get a lot of people like, what about the children? What the children gonna think? And I'm just like, all right. You know
Yeah,
what?
and I
Can't have
think
these
too
bad
many people
guys.
now want to be the villain in everyone else's story.
Oh yeah,
And there's too many people who engage with this stuff who think they're the kingpin but aren't.
no,
Who think they were Gina George and they're not. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like it's
like
just too many people want to be the villain, so I can understand it being like a very slippery slope.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah.
and if you don't,
Public messaging
engage,
is pretty
yeah,
important nowadays. As some people
yeah.
have, like, you think of little Jimmy. Well, what about what if little Jimmy becomes, the next penguin? He's gonna become elephant, and then
I'll teach little
yeah,
Jimmy not to,
yeah.
or understand, or try to figure out what led little Jimmy to become the next penguin,
Yep.
right?
became a whole different animal. Oh
Yeah.
man, but I guess yeah.
Oh, but wait,
Oh
also
yeah.
also to say some people are just plain old evil, plain old
Yes.
bad. They
Yes.
are legit just truly born that there aren't circumstances that make them the villain.
Yeah,
They
they
are
are.
just bad
They're
people.
just come out they
Bad
just come out
people.
rotten. Yeah, there's some people that just unfortunately just come out rotten. So
You know
yeah,
what's like I think what's really good about like this conversation, the other show Dorohedoro, how
yeah,
we're like, well, we like Shin and Noi,
yeah.
and they're
But
bad
they are
people. They're bad
terrible,
guys.
terrible people, bro. But then even when you think about it, it also goes down to, well, this man Kaiman and Kaido. That's why I was
Yep.
like, yeah, even they're out here killing people, and
And
it's just
understanding how
yeah,
Shin became Shin, it's like,
yeah.
yep, yep, yep,
And I mean, and out here we know he's a bad guy, but his backstory is fucked to begin with. Like you
yep.
don't know what your powers are, and you turn people into mushrooms. Jesus. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
folks, great yap session. We will be catching you guys for more Daredevil Born Again next week. So definitely stay tuned for more, and we'll catch you guys next time. You already know. Hostess.